My name is Emma Moore, and my favorite media to work with would be watercolor. I like the versatility of it, and I also like the way that you can get a really bold color, but you can also get a light wash in the same piece. Over the past 2 years, I have been involved in the art club at Central High, where I have been a junior officer and a vice president. I was in the National Art Honor Society this year and last year. I've also been involved in the Arkansas Young Artists Association, the Young Arkansas Artists exhibit, and over the summer I went to the Savannah College of Art and Design for a week and really got to learn a lot about what it's like to be with a bunch of artists who are doing what they love, and that was really a great experience. The things that influence my art would be nature. I love going outside, hiking, and finding tiny creatures or huge trees. Urban settings, I really like the way that you can play bright neon lights off of a dark alleyway and really capture that in a piece. Also, my family, I have 6 younger siblings, and I love telling them to make a funny face, and they're kids, so they'll do it, and capturing that expression is really fun to do. My most successful piece would probably be a watercolor that I did of a sticky bun last year. It was my first realistic watercolor piece, and I really enjoyed working with it. It is bold, and I got to combine glazing techniques with wet on wet to give it that realistic feel. It went on to get an honorable mention at the Arkansas Young Artists Association. It got into the Young Arkansas Artists exhibit, and from there it got the Best Watercolors of the Mid-South Award and helped me with some scholarships later in the year. So it really, I would consider that my most successful piece. My favorite piece is also the same piece because it's really bright and bold, and I love color, and also food because food's great. But it also taught me that when I turned it in, I didn't think it as my greatest piece, but it taught me that to take a step back and look at what you're doing and have other people look at what you're doing and really reflect on making each piece your greatest piece. And so I really learned that from that sticky bun. My favorite master artist would be Salvador Dali. I went to a museum of his work when I was about 10, and I'd never seen anything so surreal, and I was just totally enraptured by his influences and his crazy landscapes, and I love that his signature is a melting clock. I think using an object rather than a name is something totally unique, and he's an inspiration to me. This is a mixed media piece that I did over the summer. It's acrylic gouache and a little bit of broken ornament on a piece of plywood that I found in my garage. I wanted to kind of capture this woman and her really letting go the things that she was holding inside, whether they be good or bad. This is a mixed media piece that I did earlier this year. It is a light bulb which I broke and changed its shape a little bit and repeated it. It's watercolor, ink, charcoal, and pastel. This is a piece that I also did earlier this school year. It is watercolor and charcoal. And what I love about this piece is that I was working on it and I asked my teacher how it was going, and he thought my midtones weren't strong enough, so he poured black liquid watercolor all over it, and I was terrified and a little horrified, but it ended up turning out really great. And what he taught me was if you fall in love with what you're doing, you won't be able to take risks, and that's really what I love about this piece. This is the watercolor of a sticky bun that I was talking about earlier. It's a copy because the original is on exhibit right now. I really like the color in it, as well as the glazing and wet on wet techniques that I got to use together to create a more realistic piece. This is a pencil drawing of a homeless man here in Little Rock. I really enjoyed this piece. I liked working with the different textures from his jacket to his hair, and playing with the expression in his eyes. The artist that I chose to do for my second portion of the interview was Elaine de Kooning. When I was going through each artist, I was really drawn to her work specifically because she focused on painting, which is something that I'm really interested in. I was really captured by the abstract yet figurative work that she did, and so when I was looking into it, I realized that in her earlier period as an artist, she did kind of the traditional art that had been done for a really long time, landscapes, watercolors, still lifes. But in the 1950s, there was this abstract era with Jackson Pollock and Mark Rothko, and she really responded to that and took her figurative style into an abstract feel as well. So what I find really interesting about her work is she emphasized the stroke that she used, which is such a small part of art. You don't really think about the brushstroke, and she really took that and made it her own and would convey her subject matter through the brushstroke. For example, one of her most famous paintings was a portrait of John F. Kennedy, which the White House commissioned her to do in 1962. It took her about until 1963 to finish it, and the time and the commitment that she spent and the dedication that she put into this work was really inspiring, and it ended up being one of the greatest things she had ever done and one of the standout pieces in the line